Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I am going to show you how I've been using a planner for the last couple of years. So I've always been a huge planner girl. Like way before the digital days, I had a Franklin Covey planner that I used religiously, but then once phones came out and the digital age came out, I just really stopped writing things down, but I felt like I remembered things a lot more when I wrote them down. And I believe that a planner is a really great way to document your life, and so I wanted to get back to it. I started with the bullet journal, and I love this idea so much because I hated the idea of being like trapped onto the dates. So I loved feeling like I was totally open and that I could do more than just have a planner, that I could do a little bit of journaling. So I'm going to show you guys that today. But after working with this and seeing how this worked in my life, I actually evolved to a Hobonichi, which I am just a little bit obsessed with right now. So I'm just going to walk you guys through my books here and just show you what I'm documenting and why I'm documenting it, and how I took what I was doing in here and translated it to the Hobonichi. So this book I started in 2017. That's kind of when I first started really getting back into the planner. And a lot of my inspiration came from the boho berry when I first started out. So I wrote out a future log. These months right here, they're actually stamps, so those aren't my handwriting, and the rest of it is I hand wrote all of the calendars here. And then in here I put like special dates, kind of like when the kids are going back to school or when there was like a vacation. I also put holidays like Easter, and then I have birthdays in there as well, things that I don't want to forget. So you can see that I kind of have a key color code underneath there. And I did that for the entire year, and that worked out really well, that I could just glance at it to see what was coming up. And then before I started into January, I loved being able to have, I made this, I don't know, I guess it's of the week, and it's of our winter schedule. So the things that were set every day that week. So Megan's dance and Tessa's cheer and Bella's violin and church and all those things that are on the same day at the exact same time, I put in the calendar, and I will do one for the fall as well. Then just starting January, and I really had a lot of fun like playing around with different handwritings and working on my handwriting and things like that. The next thing I had was kind of a month at a glance here that wrote down the big things that were happening. Again, birthdays, little things like I would put, we went skiing that day, or I had book club, I helped a friend move, just stuff like that I would put in there. And then I would have my list of gratitude, and these are all vertical. So here's the dates, and then just one or two things that I was grateful for that day. Then the next thing is a tracker, and I really love to track things because one of the things that I find so appealing about a planner is checking things off a list. So I love to make a to-do list, and I love to check things off a list. And so I find when I add something to the list and I can check it off, I'm more inclined to do it. I don't know if you guys are like me, but this does motivate me for whatever it's worth. It does motivate me. So I wrote a list of things that I wanted to track that month, and then just, I think I color coded it by the week. And then my YouTube stuff. So I'd write down YouTube ideas. You can see there's a lot of Project Life stuff. I had a scrapbooking thing, some digital stamps, my story journal. So I wrote everything down, and then all the steps to get it published. So there's actually a lot of steps in there to get a video published. And then on the next page, and I apologize, I am going to be fuzzing this out, but this is a list of cards that I sent. So in 2017, my goal was to send a card every day, and it was literally the best thing I've ever done for myself that year, was to send a card. I absolutely loved it. And So I would go throughout the day and think about who I'd want to send a card to. Sometimes something would happen where I'd receive a gift, so I knew that I needed to send a thank you note. But I kept track of the people that I wrote notes to and why. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, because I wanted to make sure I didn't duplicate, because sometimes I forget, like in my mind, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna write a note to this person. And then sometimes I'm like, wait, did I do it? So it was a reminder that I did it. And then I really loved having a way that I could go back and look at like the notes that I sent and some of the kind things that people did. Like I would say, you know, this is a thank you note for the Christmas gift, or this was a birthday note for so-and-so, or this was a letter I wrote to a girl saying you did so awesome on your violin performance, you know, things like that. So I kind of like remembering all of that and some of the kindnesses that were given towards me, and then, you know, putting that back out into the world. So this is actually something I got from Elise Joy, and she sent this out. She sent this out via email because I'm on her subscription, her email list. And I just made it smaller on my printer and just printed it out as an A5 size, or I think I determined what size I needed. So I just printed it out smaller. And then this is actually me checking off the days that I sent the card. So this is just kind of a good way to kind of look to see like the days I sent the card. And I love just having this filled in. Now you can see that I didn't finish. I actually did go all the way through December, and I did really awesome on my goal. It was one of the first things I've ever done that I did not give up on, that I made a goal at the beginning of the year. So this is just something that needs to get filled in. But anyway, loved having this. I will probably print another one of these out for the coming year for my Hobonichi. Then I had a projects page where I was keeping track of the project life weeks that I got done. These stars were just a little too small. I think I used a stamp set from Allie Edwards. And then this was my one little word prompts for every month. I think I probably only did January through March. Honestly, I did not do very well in 2017 or 18 or 19, let's be honest. I haven't really done that project, even though I've wanted to. I think what I want for one little word is just to journal, and I think Allie has offered that, and so I think I will maybe do that, something like that for next year, is just do some journaling prompts. So this was actually my word for the year, build, and I saw this, it could have been on Allie's Facebook group, but I just put my word here, and then I wrote things like myself, relationship, learning, creative, spirituality, life I want. And you can see some of these did not get filled out, but I just kind of wrote the things that I wanted to be working on that fell underneath those categories. So I just did a little map there. Then I have accountability page. This is, yeah, just for January. And this was something I was doing with my sister-in-law, is just to write down 5 things that you did for the week and make sure you actually do them. So I kind of liked having that as well. It was kind of a really good jump start to thinking about the things that you really wanted to get done. And then I had some story ideas from some of Allie's story kits. I was keeping some ideas there for ways I could use her story kit. And then we're on to February. And so February is going to be the exact same thing. I've got that month at a glance here. And then the gratitude, got my tracker. And then this is again, share kindness, which is the cards. And then the accountability page. And then March, it's the same thing. Gratitude, the March tracker, the sharing kindness. And then this was a trip to California, so I was writing down some lists of things I didn't want to forget. Coming to April. And then my accountability. So this is actually just my to-do list here. I thought I was doing it by the week, but this is just my to-do list. And then May, same thing. And then I started another YouTube thing because the other one filled up. So I just started tracking these, and you can see that I Did not really end up filling that all out. A to-do list for the month. This was just kind of a master to-do list for June of all the things I wanted to get done. Another list of names. That sounds bad, but you know, a list of cards that I sent. And then a month at a glance. This was 30 days of reading the Book of Mormon, so I just wrote that out. My subscriptions, so I had a lot of subscriptions. You know, we're talking like Allie's Story Kid and the Studio Calico and lynda.com and Amazon Prime, and I just started listing out all of the things so I knew where my money was going, and then some of them I had to cancel. And then this is when I started doing the weekly spread. So this is in June. So you can see I've got Monday through Sunday and just writing a list of, a checklist of things I needed to get done that day. Went to San Diego, had some information there. Now we are in July. You can see that it's very formulaic. Here I started doing this mood tracker. This is also something I got from Boho Berry, this mood tracker, and I really love this. I think I'm going to include this also in my Hobonichi, but it's kind of nice to see, just see it in color, but it's kind of nice to see like where I was at for the month, to track that. And then we've got another week, so I think I'm using a stencil here maybe, although they don't look up like perfect like I used a stencil. And then I just wrote down lists. Here's another week, just kind of playing around with some other stamps. Then I wrote down all of the Tombow markers. I believe this is the entire list, and just showed the ones that I had. A couple of them have dried out now. And then here's another list, and I did start using a stencil here. So I'm just flipping through this really quickly. You can see that the gratitude, I went to 2 pages, so I could have 2 things that I was grateful for that day. Got another moods and tracker. And this is, like I said, very formulaic. I starting the month with master task lists of things that I wanted to get done for work, home, and church. And then I took that list and I filled it in with the week. So I would always refer back to that. And then just more weeks. So I really started loving how I was doing this by the end of the year. I was using it a ton. So I also started just doing, tracking how I was using my time. So I always think it's valuable to see how you're using your time. So I have the key here, and then just use the Tombow markers there. And I always would kind of play with like how I would do the tracking, but I always thought it was fun to use the colors. Then the master list. And then this is one thing that I started doing. What month was this? September. Joy is. So I would write down the thing that brought me joy that day, and I thought it would be cool to do. You know, it was literally like 1 or 2 words because it had to fit in a very small space. But I liked making the words really big. I just thought this was really cool. Maybe I did do 1 little word in 2017, and it was 2018 that I didn't do it very well. You can see that this was one of the prompts, and I didn't do the rest. I didn't do the pace, but the joy, I just kept track of the joy for that month. So that's why there's an arrow there. Another list of YouTube. This was what I did at the beginning of the year, where I showed what we were doing for each day. You can see that I just kind of played around with how I was doing it. That just kind of showed our fall schedule. And again, you can see that I've added the week here. So I'm just kind of fine tuning everything as I go, which is what I thought was so cool about this bullet journal. Is it starts out one way, and then as you need to use it differently, you start to use it differently. And I don't feel bad that I didn't include the weeks, or I don't feel bad that maybe it looks different than it did at the beginning. I just really love having the information. Really love that I tracked this. I might bring something like that back. more information about going out of town. Then I started doing my weeks. I'm trying to think of what I used for this. I think this was maybe a schedule. I have no idea. This says travel day. This is 12 of 12. So maybe I have no idea what this was. Oh, this was probably actually my schedule for this Squam workshop that I did. Maybe. I don't know. Another week. I really loved seeing the weeks here, so I knew what week for Project Life. And then we're into October. And all these colors just make me really happy. And actually looking at this book makes me wonder if maybe I should keep doing these books. One of the reasons why I stopped with the bullet journal was because setting up the week took a lot of time. So setting up the month, every month, at first it was, I really loved doing it. Like it felt, it just was very creative to me. And then after a while, it got to be a lot to have to do this every month and the tracker every month and, you know, all that stuff. And then every week having to write this out opposed to just grabbing the planner that's already set for you and writing it out. That's the main reason why I kind of moved away from this. Now we're on to November. Just kind of blowing through this because it really all looks the same. Once I kind of felt like I knew what I was doing, then I kind of went with it. This is a stamp. And then here I wrote a list of some December story ideas for, so if I was kind of like strapped for telling a story for my December daily, I could just look on here for maybe an idea of something that I wanted to do or add. Here is a whole bunch of list of things that I was waiting on. I don't know why I didn't put the N there. I guess I forgot. Like, you know, sometimes you write things out. So this is a list. Sorry, I will probably blur this out also. This is a list of gifts, ideas for people. And then this was things that I was waiting on that were getting shipped. So you can see that a lot of stuff was getting shipped in December. Here's some December daily notes. So I loved, like, ideas. I loved being able to have that in this book. And then I just went through December. So I really came to count on these weeks and looking at what I needed to get done. Really did help me stay on task. Okay, so that is what I did for 2017. And in 2018, I did a bullet journal for the first half of the year too. All right, so I actually can't find the first part of 2018. It's somewhere. I know it's not lost. I just need to locate it. But I wanted to show you. So I started watching some YouTube channels in 2018, I guess. And I found out about the Hobonichi. And because, like I said, with this one, I really liked it, but I hated having to set it up every month, right? So when I saw the Hobonichi, I realized that this could fill a lot of my needs, like the needs that I have in this. This could totally do the job and I wouldn't have to write everything out every week. So I bought the Avec version, which was just July to December. And I think I got this on Amazon. I can't now remember, but I just bought the one book and I fell in love with it. So the paper in this book is, to me, it feels like my scriptures. It's very, very thin. It's very silky and it's so awesome with ink. Like, I'm really obsessed about this paper. I am gonna buy just a notebook that's got this paper in it so I can use it. So I just wanted to show you guys how I took all this information that I was tracking in here, which, like I said, is a really great way to document your life and how I started using it in the Hobonichi. So I'm not gonna show or like explain to you how the Hobonichi is laid out. There's tons and tons of videos on there, but as I walk you through it, you'll just be able to see. So the first page that you get to is the year-long calendar. So this was in 2018, and again, it started in July, so that's why I have no information on the first 6 months. And I started tracking my moods here. So this is where I would do my mood tracker, and then these X's are like not so good days. So I started tracking my mood, and I did the same thing for 2019, but I think I'm going to use these a little bit different this year. So these pages I decided to use as my tracker. Now you can see that I actually did not do a very good job of doing the tracker at the end of the year, but that was my intent, and that is what I'm doing this year. So I will definitely be tracking things in there, and you can see that although this book is, you know, July to December, it's giving me January of 2019 through June. So I would probably not do anything with those pages there. Then I've got the months. And what I decided to do for the months was to write something I was grateful for every day. So that is how I filled up my month. So all of these are just like one thing that I was grateful for on that day. And you can see that I did add some stickers because I do love stickers. All right, I just had to go help my husband with something, but I think I left off by saying I added a few stickers because I do like stickers, but I don't like to just have a ton of stickers, but a little here and there is great. So again, just gratitude, just filling up with gratitude. You can see I missed a few days, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. So all the way through into December, which I missed these. And then it does include the first month of January, which I don't need. And then I did the weeklies. So the weeklies are vertical and they are kind of skinny, but it totally works for me. At this point, it has the time down, it's vertical down the side. And I didn't worry about that. I just added my to-do list. So these were just kind of my to-do list, even though at the very top I would write down the things that were going on that day. These are highlighted because I was kind of crossing them off like the way Elise Joy did. So anyway, I stopped doing that and I just kind of had my code here. And this week you can actually see that I included the time of when those activities were, or when my schedule was. And so some weeks I don't have very much, and then some weeks I have a little bit more. And one of the things I like, you can see that I missed a whole bunch here, and then I'm including some stickers. This is actually from Ali Edwards that I made myself, some of her stamps. I had a stencil from Hobonichi that I started using. So those are some of the weeks. And then for the daily pages, like I said when I was talking about this, the one thing that I loved about the bullet journal is that you are not sucked into having, like, you have a designated day that then you have to like fill up. But I kind of like the idea of being able to just do random things, add stuff. Like you can see here that I was playing with some watercolors that I have, just kind of swatching those out. And then I'm practicing with my handwriting, and I'm talking, you know, I'm just kind of journaling about some stuff, some more watercolor, got some stickers. I've got a photo. This is actually one of those photos that when you open it up in the app, it shows the video. So that was kind of my idea, that I would be able to just have some more life in these pages. So I just would do random things. I would draw a picture of a flower. I would practice my handwriting, do a little bit of journaling. I would draw. I would, you know, kind of play around. This was some washi that came in a kit. I can't remember which one. I did some notes. This was some notes that I took. You can see that I started on this day and then ended up going to this day because I had space. So it's not all journaling. And if it is, it's like onesie twosie. This is art that was inspired by James Burke. I was watching his YouTube channel, so I kind of tried to draw that. Again, handwriting, got some watercolor. I really love, obviously this is not watercolor paper, but I love the way the watercolor took to these pages. I love the crinkling. I don't know, I just love all about that. You can see that I've just playing more with some watercolor. So I'm kind of using this as an art journal and a way to kind of practice my handwriting, just to write a few blurbs. This is not like a journal. This was some markers that I bought that I was kind of swatching. And then I had, I don't know why these are still in here, but I had, these are stamps, and I think I was on the plane, and I thought that I would maybe just, you know, watercolor them, but so I just stuck them in here. Playing with watercolor. I can't remember what, it was a YouTuber I think that I got that idea from. Taping in some quotes. And again, another little watercolor thing. That came from the same artist that this came from. What is her name? I can see her little icon. Using a stencil. I might do this again because I love it the way it looks. I love the colors. So anyway, it just goes on like this. You can see this has a little sticker that I made using from one of Ali Edwards' digital files. This is hard stuff, and I stuck it on there. It must have been a hard day, so I didn't have anything more to say than that. Here is, this was when I was working on the December Daily party. It wasn't the party. December Daily had the class that she did with some inspiration. I can't remember what she called it. I keep thinking December Daily Prep Party, and that's wrong, but it was just ideas to work with the kit that she had, and I had the tags, if you remember that tag flip book. So I was just kind of writing down some ideas there. So that was in October. I was actually writing down some of the Copic markers that I wanted. Again, just playing with some of the watercolor and doing some combinations here. Adding photos. I really love practicing my writing because this paper is so awesome. So again, some more notes. This was a conference. This was a swatch of some markers, which I definitely want to do this again. Just because it's very pleasing, right? So pleasing. And I wanted to see how they would work with this paper. And you can see, this is the Zig Cling color. You can kind of see the colors, but they don't bleed through. And I just really love the way that looks. Then I think this is when I went to the December Daily Prep Party and just kind of was writing down some stuff. Anyway, added some photos. So this is really what the daily pages looks like, and it was really just me kind of sitting down with my journal once a day and just doing whatever I felt like doing. Here, I think we were at church and I let my kids, whoever, I have the date and the time, but I can't remember. Someone was like practicing something. And then I've got some December daily notes, ideas of stuff that I want to do. I think I did that back here also for December 4th. Got a picture of Megan and her dad. They went skiing that day. So yeah, more December daily ideas, things like that. So it didn't necessarily have to be journaling. It was just like what was going on that day. So that's, I don't think I filled in the rest of the book, but that is how I'm using my Hobonichi. And I'm not going to flip through all of these. This January one for 2019, I actually did a really bad job. You can see, by that I mean, you can see that most of these daily pages weren't used because I had a really hard time. If you remember, I think I kind of dropped off with my YouTube channel and with my Instagram because it was just a really hard beginning of the year, and it kind of just went far into the spring, which I didn't realize it was going to be that difficult. It's kind of been a hard year for me this year, but one of the things that I started setting up doing differently this year is I started writing in, here's a good one. I started writing in the dates here, so I would kind of skip, so it was like every line was a number. So instead of every number has 2 lines, it's every line is a number. So the 24 mark, or actually that's the 21 mark, because I don't really do anything past 9, let's get real. And so after that, I just wrote a line here, and then I would write my to-dos at the bottom. So at the top was my schedule, and then my to-dos were at the bottom. So that's kind of what I was doing. Here's a page where you can see that I wrote like happy birthday, that's my birthday. And anyway, so I kind of stopped really using this, probably because I stopped YouTubing. And then I wanted to get back to it, so I think at the end, I kind of started writing some stuff in there again. And then I decided that for sure I was going to pick back up with the July again. So this is from this year. And again, I've got my gratitude on the month. And this is the month we're on, or this is currently, it's August right now. I think this was maybe last week. This was last week because it was the first day of school. So you can see that I'm more using like the entire week, and I've kind of outlined some of the scheduling that I have, and then I've got my to-dos there. And then I can add like first day if I want. And underneath I've got my to-do list, and it's not that big of a deal, right? This is the week I'm working on. This is the current week right now, so it is going to be Labor Day this weekend. So hopefully you guys have something fun to do. But you can see this is my daily pages, and it's very similar. You can see that I'm adding a lot more photos. I'm just going to kind of go through. Got some washi from Ali Edwards. I don't know if any of you got that washi. And at the end, you can see that I've got a lot more journaling. So I've kind of been trying to decide, do I want to journal more? Do I want to make it more of an art journal? You can see this one feels more of an art journal to me, just kind of like a catch-all. This one, I really am telling a lot more stories. Here's like 4 stories that I did there. So anyway, there's a lot more stories there. So I'm just kind of, I feel like I'm still in the process of figuring out everything that I want to do, but I love this Hobonichi planner, and I have decided that I'm going to stick with it for the following year. But I also think that it is such a great way to document your life that when I slow down with project life, because I have less photos, I may do like a 6x8 album and then have a planner and just have my planner be how I document. And you know, I can add photos and I can add stickers and I can do watercolor and things like that. But I don't feel like I have to fill up a whole 12 by 12, or maybe I would do it on a monthly basis. I don't know. Just something I have been thinking about is really making my planner a way to document my life, and then maybe doing a smaller 6x8 album for project life. So anyway, that is, I'm excited to fill out the rest of the year, and I'm excited to buy a new book for next year. But I really, really love the Hobonichi, and part of that honestly is the paper and just how I've been able to fit like all of the little pieces, you know, the month, the week, and then the daily to fit with the needs that I have for planning and documenting. So all right, you guys, that is it for me. But before you go, I thought I would do something different and give you a little bit of context to this video. So I actually filmed and edited this video back in August of 2019. So today is September 1st, and every year on September 1st, Hobonichi releases their planners for the following year. So it's a really big event for those people that are interested in Hobonichis, because they have very exclusive covers and things like that sell out very quickly. Usually their planners do not sell out. So if you're interested in that, I'm sure that is still available to you. And I will definitely have that linked below. At any rate, I was looking through my YouTube channel for this video that I did, and I couldn't find it, and I realized I never actually published it. So I'm not even sure how that happened. Yeah, I definitely have to work on that. So anyway, I thought, you know, why not release it, because I already have it edited. But I just want you to know that I am going to be doing a follow-up, because I feel like my planning has changed in the last year. It definitely feels a lot more memory keeping than it does planning. And so I felt like I needed another book that was more work related, because a lot of the things I need to plan, while there are some personal things, a lot of it is work related, assignments that I have, stuff I want to get done for YouTube, ideas that I have, and I just want to have everything in one book. So I do have my planner, which is more memory keeping, and I will share that with you in a follow-up video. So if you guys have any questions, you can definitely put them in the comment section below. And if it's quick and easy, I will answer them. If not, it's something, or if it's a question about something you want to see, then I will definitely be sharing that in my follow-up video. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer, because I know this is quite a long video, but I really do hope what you saw. And if you do, please give this video a thumbs up. It actually really helps me. And consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of the good stuff, right? All right, we will see you next time. Bye.